in. Especially, like for me, like if I have two back to back in a row, like I'm probably gonna launch a third that maybe isn't advised by Steph, but like I gotta.
Did you catch that, folks? Did you catch what she said just there? I gotta launch a third that maybe isn't advised by Steph. Now you all know.
Since this is a lady we're talking about, it looks like Stephanie White has spaded Caitlin Clark, for lack of a better way of putting it. If it was a dude, I'd say neutered, but, you get my point.
Caitlin Clark, the most electrifying scorer in women's basketball history, just revealed something that has fans absolutely losing their minds. Her own coach is telling her not to shoot when she's on fire. Let me break this down for you because this situation is getting out of hand. We're talking about a player who broke every scoring record imaginable in college, who sells out arenas wherever she goes, who single-handedly brought millions of new fans to women's basketball. And now she's being coached like she's some rookie who needs to learn her place. This all started making sense when Clark went on a podcast and dropped a bombshell. She explained how, as a shooter, when you see 2 or 3 shots going back-to-back, you want to launch that third one even if it's not the best shot according to your coach. That's just what shooters do. But apparently, that's not what Stephanie White wants to see.
This is the game where Caitlin was on like an all-time heater and then randomly she just stopped shooting. Like that is a thing. That is a thing that happened. She randomly just stopped shooting while she was on an all-time heater. She was on an all-time heater and she just randomly stopped shooting. But let's take a listen.
I would say more so professionally, like that Liberty game. I feel like as a shooter, like when you see like 2 or 3 go in, especially like for me, like if I have 2 back to back in a row, like I'm probably gonna launch a third that maybe isn't advised by Steph, but like I gotta get it up. And then if the third goes in, like you're just hot. I think as a shooter, like your confidence just builds and builds and builds. It's just coming off your hand better. The rim looks big.
No wonder she's hesitant to shoot the ball. No wonder.
Here's what's really happening in Indiana. They drafted a Ferrari and decided to use it as a family sedan. Clark isn't just any player you can plug into your system and hope for the best. She's a generational talent who needs a system built around her unique abilities. Instead, what we're seeing is a coach trying to force the most dynamic offensive weapon in the league into a rigid motion offense that completely neutralizes her greatest strengths. Think about this logically. You have a player who can pull up from 30 feet and make it look routine. She can thread passes through traffic that most players can't even see. She can take over games single-handedly when she gets hot. And your response as a coach is to tell her to slow down and run more set plays? The most frustrating part is watching what happens during games. Clark will start heating up, hitting 2 or 3 consecutive shots, and suddenly she stops shooting, not because she's tired or the defense adjusted, but because she's being coached to defer to the system. It's like watching someone put out a fire just as it's starting to spread. Let's talk about that Liberty game everyone keeps referencing. Clark hit 5 3-pointers in the first half and was absolutely scorching hot. Then, in the second half, she basically disappeared from the offensive game plan. That's not basketball coaching, that's sabotage. When a shooter tells you they're feeling it, when they're seeing the rim like a hula hoop, you don't suddenly decide it's time to run more ball movement drills. The fundamental problem here is a philosophical mismatch. White is clearly a defensive-minded coach who believes in controlled, systematic offense. That works great when you have average players who need structure to be effective. But when you have Caitlin Clark, you don't need a system to create good shots. She is the system. She creates offense out of thin air. What makes this even more maddening is that it's not just hurting Clark individually. It's hurting the entire team's development and chemistry. When your best player is constantly being reined in, it sends a message to everyone else that playing it safe is more important than playing to win. That kind of cautious mentality spreads through a locker room like a virus.
Those threes really quick against the Fever. Boom from downtown. Much more so than Freddie downtown Brown, and there comes the second one. I'm firing it up. So of course, after that happens, yep, here comes the heat check. We're going to have to see if we still have it in us. Give me the ball. And this isn't even the one, right? That's 3 right there. And that doesn't even count the 4th one that was over Brianna Stewart. That's how hot she was. But the point being with this is anyone who's ever played the game, any of you that have been fans for a long time, right? It's so ingrained that you even hear the more knowledgeable announcers, they all should be, I know, but they're not. We'll say, when a player does make, like 2 big buckets in a row, whether it's from downtown or just tough shots, and then they have a 3rd one, as soon as it goes up, it's all heat check. It is standard. It is normal. All players, all scorers do it. I would have Kelsey Mitchell should do it as well. Like anybody who makes, those are the 3 in a row. Those first 2, anybody making those 2 shots, absolutely a 3rd one should come. And a lot of people, what they talked about when this happened was Stephanie White looks unhappy. Stephanie White looks unhappy. You heard it.
The comparison that keeps coming to mind is imagine if Phil Jackson had told Michael Jordan to be more of a facilitator. Imagine if he'd said Jordan was taking too many shots and needed to focus more on getting his teammates involved. That would have been coaching malpractice of the highest order. Yet that's essentially what we're seeing in Indiana right now. Here's what should be happening every single possession. Clark should have a screen set for her at the top of the key. Every time, whether it's from Boston, Mitchell, or Howard, someone should be creating space for her to operate. From there, you read the defense. If they double team her, great, someone's open. If they don't, she can create her own shot. It's not complicated basketball theory. Instead, we're seeing possessions where Clark brings the ball up court, makes a pass, and then runs to stand in the corner like she's some role player waiting for scraps. That's not just poor utilization of talent, it's complete misunderstanding of what makes elite offensive players special. The worst part is that White isn't even a bad coach overall. She proved she can coach by winning the Commissioner's Cup with a limited roster. But there's a huge difference between maximizing average talent and knowing how to handle a superstar. Those are completely different skill sets. And right now it's obvious which one she's better at. What's really telling is how other teams around the league are probably watching the situation and salivating. They're seeing one of the most talented players in basketball being underutilized and thinking about what they could do with her on their roster. That should terrify Indiana management.
Well, the cat is out the bag, man. Now, I told y'all, I was one of the first people to let it be known. Head coach Stephanie White is so against Caitlin Clark. It's clear as day, and it's very much clear as day that this front office dropped the ball in hiring her to be Caitlin Clark coach. I'm telling you right now, Stephanie White do not want Caitlin Clark to shoot the ball. It's clear as day. She want to run this motion offense, and quite frankly, Caitlin either need to get the hell out of Indy or the front office need to make it their business to hire a new coach, man. Stephanie White is trying to ruin Caitlin Clark, man.
The fans aren't buying what's being sold either. They didn't show up to watch systematic ball movement and contested mid-range jumpers. They came to see Clark do things that shouldn't be possible but somehow always work out. They want logo 3's, impossible passes, and complete takeover performances. Not whatever this watered-down version of her game is supposed to be. This situation is becoming a case study in how not to coach elite talent. You don't take a player who thrives in chaos and try to make them comfortable with predictability. You don't take someone who sees the game 3 moves ahead and ask them to wait for everyone else to catch up. You definitely don't take the most exciting player in your sport and turn them into a role player. The solution here is obvious, even if it's uncomfortable for some people to admit. Either White needs to completely overhaul her approach and build an offense that showcases Clark's unique abilities, or Indiana needs to find a coach who understands what they have. Because right now, they're wasting what could be the most special talent to enter women's basketball in decades. Time is ticking, and every game where Clark is held back is another opportunity missed. The basketball world is watching, and patience is running thin. Something has to change, and it needs to happen soon.